Resident Evil Requiem has been released a little over a week at the time of recording this, and I recently just finished playing the game for the first time. Today, this is my spoiler-free review of the game. That's right, no spoilers. All footage provided is from the first about 1 or 2 hours of the game, 2 or 3, roughly. And today I'm going to be asking the question, does Resident Evil Requiem live up to the hype, or does it just fall short? So let's get into it. Let's start by talking about the gameplay. In this game, you play as 2 different protagonists, each with their own distinct playstyle. Newcomer Grace Ashcroft and returning legacy character Leon S. Kennedy. Grace's sections are more akin to classic Resident Evil gameplay, with resource and inventory management, conserving ammo and other resources such as healing, solving puzzles, escaping stalker-like enemies. And you'll notice that Grace's sections are in first person while Leon's sections are in third person. You can actually change these in the settings at any point during your playthrough to mix and match it up a bit. For my first playthrough, however, I went first person for Grace and third person for Leon, as that was the intended experience by the developers. And if you really want to challenge yourself a bit, the game offers a classic difficulty setting when you start a new game. Classic difficulty, as far as I can tell, the only real difference that is added is that you'll have limited saving, just like the classic Resident Evil games, where you'll have to find ink ribbons in order to make a save, and conserving that resource as well. Which leads me into my next point about one of this game's major mechanics, crafting. In this game, Grace gets a blood extractor which is used to craft various items such as healing items and an ejector that can be used to insta-kill enemies and used to stealth kill them if you so choose to sneak up on them. On classic difficulty, you can find empty ink ribbon tins, and you can use the blood as a substitute for the ink to make ink ribbons if you can't really find any at all. You can find blood at various points at the Rhodes Hill Care Centre on the map, such as in different locations such as the pantry in the chef's area, or in the restroom where the maid is cleaning at. You can also extract blood from various enemies that you kill. Speaking of the zombies, they're actually pretty unique in this game, as they actually retain characteristics from when they were alive. Such as, for example, there's a zombie that hates light basically, and they'll pretty much try to always turn off the lights in any given hallway. You can actually use this to your advantage to sneak around them, if you so please. Or the maid enemies that will excessively try to clean stuff, even though they're just smearing blood anywhere. The chef that you sneak past as well, which is also like a mini stalker enemy at one point. The 2 singing ladies, which can actually disorient you with their voice. As well as one of the funnier ones, I think, is the construction worker that screams at you to get out of the way. A new enemy type in the game are the Blister Heads. These guys are basically similar to the Crimson Heads from Resident Evil 1 Remake, but honestly, these guys I think are far tougher than the Crimson Heads in that game. For one, they can insta-kill you. You can't kill them with regular pistol ammo, and they're pretty much like bullet sponges, whereas at least in Resident Evil 1 Remake, you can get away from them, you can create some distance. Pretty sure you can kill them with the shotgun in that game too, 1 or 2 shells. But yeah, they're a very relentless enemy in this game, and they're a welcome addition, as much like the Crimson Heads in Resident Evil 1 Remake, they make you think a little bit more tactfully about which zombies you want to kill, which ones do I use an injector for, which in turn makes you think about, do I want to use a certain amount of blood to make an injector to kill a zombie, or do I save it for a healing item, or maybe some other item that you might need. It's great stuff. Like I said, I loved it in Resident Evil 1 Remake, and I think it's a welcome new addition in this game as well. Also, Grace's sections are a lot more focused around stealth and sort of trying to sneak past enemies as well, using actually pretty unique ways of doing so. Like I said, there's the zombies that hate light, so you can turn on a light switch, and then the zombie will walk over to it, turn it off, and you can sort of sneak by it. You do get a gun. You do get a gun as Grace, And there's also a melee attack you can do as Grace, where you can just shove enemies and push them over. It doesn't do any damage, but at least it'll let you get away from them easier. But the graphics in this game are absolutely beautiful. They're very detailed, they have a lot of high fidelity, a lot of impressive lighting and gore effects as well. I remember when I played Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I was stunned at the graphics and the detail in that game. But this game, I mean, I was actually kind of stunned at some of the graphic fidelity in it as well. And speaking of which, the atmosphere of Rhodes Hill Care Centre is great, and honestly, I think it might be my favorite part of the whole game. Again, I'm not going to talk about spoilers or anything in this review, don't worry. But I really like the Rhodes Hill Care Centre of the game. It's very atmospheric. The building's starting to get a little bit more run down with the infection like spreading. Some bits of it are like really tense and creepy, like the girl, like when you first run into the girl at the near start of the game, and you have to escape her and run away to get the fuse to get to the main hallway. Oh man, I freaking I shit a brick sneaking past her for the first time, man. Like, holy hell. Very well done. Even though it's like a very short and sweet section, it's very effective. The Capcom did a really good job designing these new monsters as well. Speaking of which, this game tries to shake things up a little bit with the stalker formula of previous Resident Evil games. In previous Resident Evil games, you had a persistent stalker threat like Nemesis or Joe Baker from RE7. This game, they instead use mini stalker enemies, which will track you down and hunt you down for a little bit, but you can dispose of them fairly easily if you so choose to. Or you can actually leave them and have Leon deal with them later on in the game. The most prominent one is probably the girl. Again, this is basically like a 20-foot tall like monster girl that will pretty much try to chomp your head off, like a Kit Kat bar. And like I said, she's very scary, but she's weak to UV lights as well, which you can use to your advantage. And as like I said at the start of the game, you can pretty much use it to your advantage to pretty much fend her off and run by her and stuff. Now onto Leon's section. Now, unlike Grace, who can die pretty easily if you grabbed by a zombie and whatnot, Leon's sections are a lot more action focused, and pretty much plays similar to how he plays in Resident Evil 4 Remake, although he's not quite as quick as he is in that game. The parry system is back, however, instead of knives that break, there's a new hatchet mechanic, where basically it doesn't break, but you'll need to sharpen it in order to use it. You can melee and also parry enemy attacks. It took a while for me to get used to it, but once I did, it's actually pretty satisfying to use. And you can also still do the classic melee attacks, again, like in Resident Evil 4. To melee enemy, stun them, and then finish them off with the hatchet. Despite my experience with previous Resident Evil games like Resident Evil 1 Remake and Code Veronica, I actually found this game to be kind of difficult. As Grace, I found myself almost running out of ammo, struggling to find healing items, struggling to get past certain zombies, and again, Grace really can't take that much damage in this game, guys. Even with 2 healing upgrades, I was almost going from fine status to danger. And I was like sneaking around and playing carefully as well. I don't know how other people's experience with the game will fare. I don't know if it's because I picked classic difficulty and that's why I had a bit of a harder time with it. But yeah, in my experience, I actually found this game to be kind of hard. But that's okay. Just because a game's hard, it doesn't mean it's bad. And I think this game presents a pretty fair challenge. It gives you the tools to succeed, but it doesn't provide you with like a crippling difficulty that feels unfair. Or I could just be getting worse at games as I'm getting older. I don't know. I'm currently uploading a playthrough of Resident Evil 9 on my main channel here. I've already uploaded part 1 at the time of recording this, so if you want to go see that, I'll leave a link in the description below. But yeah, in conclusion, I think this game was awesome. I think Grace is an awesome new character that they added to the game, and I hope maybe we'll get to see her again in Resident Evil 10. Her sections are great. They're very tense, they're very suspenseful, they're very atmospheric. Again, a lot of classic Resident Evil elements in her gameplay. And same with Leon's section as well. Again, if you like the more action-focused gameplay from like Resident Evil 4 Remake and such, then this game also has plenty of that to offer as well. Very, very high octane, very thrilling and satisfying combat. Doesn't feel like janky at all. It's very tight. Controls are very intuitive. Just awesome stuff. I don't really have much in terms of negatives at all. The only real negatives I have relate to 2 scripted moments later on in the game. But again, I'm not going to talk about that here because this is spoiler free. But both of the actors for Grace and Leon, I think they both did a phenomenal job, especially the woman that played Grace. I think she did an absolutely phenomenal job portraying like this like fearful character that has like anxiety problems and like trauma, and you know, really bringing that to life. I think she did an absolutely fantastic job. But yeah, overall this game was awesome, and definitely recommend picking it up or even waiting for a sale if you feel inclined to do so. Overall, I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and be on the lookout for more reviews and Let's Play content here on my channel. Be sure to like and subscribe.